superannuation? There's this weird thing, and look, to be fair, the superannuation industry back in the 80s when it was introduced was an absolute Wild West, okay? Like, it was introduced with the right intentions, but not the right governance and rules and structure, and unfortunately product providers come in and were implementing this predatory behaviour. Like back in the day, there was something that was called a contribution fee, that when you put money into superannuation, they could take up to 12% of your contribution out as a fee that would go to a financial advisor or the product provider. There would be eye-watering exit fees. Like people had been contributing for decades and had like less than $100,000 in their retirement savings. Like these accounts were criminal, right? But superannuation is fundamentally different now to what it was. And in fact, we have the biggest retirement planning system in the world now. Trillions of dollars in retirement savings because of the superannuation system, and it's only been implemented for 40 years, right? So what we've got to realise is that superannuation is the most tax-effective way for you to fund your retirement. It's quite simply, money going into superannuation gets taxed at 15%. Like compared to, for most people, they're paying at least 30% a marginal average tax rate. So significant saving there. Next, any earnings that you make inside super get taxed at between 10 and 15%. So same thing, compared to your own individual tax rate, you might pay 30 up to 47% tax. So significant difference. Next, you can contribute to superannuation pre-tax. So any contributions you make that are what's called concessional contributions, at the moment you can contribute up to $30,000 per person per year. That's tax deductible, so that reduces your assessable income. Many of our clients use that to put themselves into a lower tax bracket. There's also other rules like catch-up contributions, where we have the ability to, if your super balance is under 500 grand, you can contribute your unused concessional caps for the last 5 years. So for some clients, they might sell an investment property and have a big tax bill, but they use the catch-up concessional contributions to end up paying no tax. And then the other factor is that once you turn 60, you can convert your super into what's called pension, and any earnings are now taxed at zero, and any income you draw out is not taxable either. So there is no other way that you can get tax-free income in retirement other than superannuation. Now, there are some risks. So the government recently implemented some caps. So for most people, they can have up to about $1.7 million in pension per person and have that tax-free. Everything else gets taxed at 15%. And then there's other thresholds where tax continues to increase, but that's still a pretty sizable amount of money. And of course, you can't touch it until you're 60, so there's a risk there. So if you're young, putting all your money into super might not make sense. And of course, the government can change the rules. But what we've got to realise is that the sheer number of people, so basically the entire workforce for the past 40 years are in superannuation. So that's a considerable voting force that for the government to change the rules too significantly to impact that many people would be political suicide. So although there is a risk, like I never know what's going to happen, the likelihood of them making adverse changes to superannuation that are catastrophic are relatively low. Do we put all of our eggs in one basket? No, but it's something that business owners sleep on, because for most business owners, if they're a sole trader, they don't have to pay super. If they're not taking a salary, they don't have to pay super. And even if they are taking a salary, it's usually small because of their bloody accountant. So there's not a lot of money going into super anyway. So there's some incredible strategies we can use with super. Like for example, for many of our clients, we can use their super to buy commercial premises that they can run their business from. Like why pay dead rent to a landlord for 10, 20 years when you can pay that money into your retirement savings? There's some phenomenal strategies that we can implement once you understand how it works.